So Michael Jansen is the chairman and CEO of Cityzenith, which was an early leader in digital twin technology. And we're going to get into what digital twin is. Michael, can you kind of just go down to the 101 level of what digital twin technology is and how Cityzenith is providing solutions to the built environment, to AEC firms, to building owners, and so on?
The common definition of a digital twin is a virtual replica of physical assets, whether those are buildings, infrastructure, or whatnot, connected to the data in and around them. And digital twins are generally used to optimize performance across functional areas that range from planning to operations to even financial analysis. So we do quite a bit of work in this space. In fact, using digital twins for assessing things like climate change impact, whatnot. The digital twin phenomenon, if you will, I think gained momentum thanks to the manufacturing industry, and which heavily leveraged the ability of a digital twin to aggregate components inside a factory to optimize different types of processes. And now we're seeing that type of approach expanded out to sectors around the world, really, that include everything from, of course, buildings, stationary energy sources like buildings, infrastructure, whatnot, to aviation, to many other sectors as well. So the digital twins generally are all about creating efficiencies by pulling things together into a single kind of frame of perspective. We call it a single prism of glass, because digital twins for us are 3D. And that allows not only users to be able to see all their information in a single place, but also to run analysis, especially correlating efficiencies between systems, which is really where you can begin to generate the efficiencies. And we have many examples of that we have executed from single building projects. We recently completed one with CBRE in Scotland around this concept, where we created a digital twin of the HQ of a major corporate real estate company there that aggregated 6 different systems and correlated them into basically one that they now use, to doing entire greenfield city projects like you mentioned. We've done a couple of digital twin projects, and a new one coming up, a new smart district project we recently announced in the Southeast United States. So yeah, there's there's a lot of exciting things happening, but that's the general definition of what a digital twin is. And you'll see different companies with different specific approaches to solving problems with it.
Are you being hired by, your firm offers these solutions, are you being commissioned by the building owners themselves, cities? I mean, who is your primary customer at this point, your client?
Our customer is typically the owner, operator, or developer. The end user, the owner of the twin, tends to be the real estate company or the facilities company, the operator, the campus. In one case, it was an infrastructure operator called Network Rail. Sometimes we work with the architect, either directly as the client. More often, the architect will be involved as a participant in the overall creation of the digital twin as it's happening in our Southeast USA project. But there is a range of users out there now. We are doing projects that span not just what we call commercial architecture, but infrastructure, energy. One of our new projects is actually a smart grid project in New Mexico, which we'll be announcing soon, where a digital twin is being used to visualize the real-time performance of a renewable grid that will allow the developer to create basically pop-up renewable energy-based cities. And it's a very exciting phenomenon for us. To some new work that we're doing with the U.S. Army. And that's very exciting too. I mean, our first ever project with the military, again, around this idea of centralizing information into a single, in this case, digital twin model of a base camp. So the types of work that we get involved with varies, but the use case around the aggregation of information and then the derivation of analytics from that information is common to everything.
Hmm. And our audience, primarily AEC professionals, so architects, engineers, contractors. We also have owner developers. In their world, the BIM model is kind of the central digital twin, if you will. But this goes
Sure.
above and beyond. What you're doing goes above and beyond, right? A really robust BIM model. Can you kind of explain the difference for our audience?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. What is the difference between BIM and digital twin? BIM, or building information modeling, is primarily a tool that's designed for design coordination, design development and design coordination. It's used by architects and contractors primarily. It's
Mm-hmm.
excellent for modeling, annotating complex constructural elements with information, and then coordinating specific elements to really design to do something very specific. Um, and digital twinning, for example, digital twin technologies are not modeling technologies. Our approach, at least as a company, to modeling is that we import 3D models in various formats, including in BIM formats. And then what a digital twin technology will do is annotate, basically turn that into a data object and annotate it with massive amounts of information: IoT sensors, building management systems, architectural drawings, PDF files, warranties, you name it, which are connected to then live databases or static, and then searchable and whatnot. So it takes a BIM model and turns it into a complete, what we call BAM, or baseline asset model, an asset information model. So you can build a digital twin without a BIM model, but it's nice to be able to start with a BIM model, because you start with a very accurate then representation of the base building when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that we've approached it is that we now allow users to import various types of BIM models directly into our environment, whether it's a Revit file from Autodesk, or a Bentley architecture model, or a CATIA model, or an open GLTF model straight in, so that you then have one common environment with all those models and their data in which to operate. And that's really what's needed today to do the large scale projects. All these projects are using myriads of tools. They may have 5 to 6 different BIM tools. They may have countless construction management tools and or construction estimating tools. All these tools really need to have some place where their information is correlated, and then visualized. And that's what digital twins do. So hopefully that, the architect has a very specific role there. I think architects should be very aware of what digital twins are. And the promise for architects actually is that digital twins, by allowing you to aggregate the downstream systems that will run the buildings, should allow you, therefore, to make the right decisions upstream when you're designing. If you actually know which downstream BMSs are going to be, which energy management systems, so on and so forth, then at the design stage, you can make those types of decisions that can better predict those elements of energy performance, etc., energy consumption, all that. So I think as that digital twins get more sophisticated, and right now I don't think they're sophisticated enough yet. I think that we like to think that we're one of the groups that has a sophisticated product, but there are, I think, before this really becomes mass, when it does, I think you'll see far more architects kind of changing the way they think about design towards, okay, if I have all this downstream information available to me now, I can really tell the owner how this thing is going to behave in 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the promise of digital twinning brings to the design and planning community.
So you could almost do like a true simulation of what is going to be this end product, and then you're changing the end product based on the simulations.
And if you're the owner, that's exactly what you want. You want to know, I know not only how much is this going to cost and when is it going to be completed, but what are my operating costs likely to be in 4 years based upon what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And these types of simulations, I think, as digital twins become more and more popular, will drive adoption out to into the various sectors. And that's why I said owners right now are the principal proponents of digital twinning generally.
Mm-hmm. And I'd love to, could you go a little bit deeper on the CBRE project you mentioned? In that case, were you able to pull off something that wouldn't be able to be performed because of the technology? Could you just kind of give us a little overview of that CBRE?
Yeah, I'll give you more color on it. It was a project in Scotland that was for the Aberdeen City Council that operates 100 properties across the city of Aberdeen. And the new headquarters in Marischal Square is 2 smart buildings that are operated by CBRE. They currently had 6 systems that deployed by CBRE to manage the property in a single room. They were on 6 independent, in that case, computer frameworks. One was a BMS, another was a control system, one was a tenant management system, et cetera, et cetera. So they wanted a single digital twin from which they could aggregate all this information and begin to determine specific correlations between those different systems. And one of the ones I recall was connecting the vendor management system to control system, so that when something, for example, a leak was triggered an alert, that would automatically send a notification through the vendor management system to the vendor. So you would eliminate that lag time between problem and resolution. Mm-hmm. So we automated all of that for them in that and helped them to reduce their operating costs, I believe it was by 15% over the course of that trial period, just from those basic correlations. That's how much money there is on the table. The small things are actually quite a bit. So as these discoveries get made, you find more and more, I think, owners turning to these types of efficiency solutions. The holdup has been just that the digital twin products themselves, being able to integrate that many types of technology, that's complicated. Mm-hmm. Very, very complicated. We've been at this for 10 years, and we're in 5 versions. We started with the gentleman who created Google Earth, and we've had some very talented people since then. So we never lacked for throwing the right people at this. I think it was just a lot of effort before the balancing of the front end and back end and game engine and these components before you really find the right solution that works. So still today, Smart World Pro, as we call it, is basically the world's most sophisticated video game.
I'd love to transition to this commission that you just received from, was it the City of Orlando or was it a development group? But it seems to be a pretty sizable commission for Cityzenith. Can you kind of explain what's going on in Orlando?
Well, yes, there's a new exciting project there. We're getting involved with something called the Orlando Sports and Entertainment District. Mm-hmm. It is an existing high-profile real estate project that is really transforming part of the city west of the I-4 in Orlando, where the Orlando Magic play basketball at the Amway Center, into a connected district that will do all kinds of interesting things. And one of their goals is to help drive the millions of visitors to Orlando, to the downtown, to experience this kind of unique urban experience. And so the initial use case for us there will be to create a digital twin of, and decisively, it's actually going to include 10 square kilometers around the site, but the site plus the city, in order to create an online web experience for visitors to be able to experience it as though they were there, online, and really become familiar with what they call the OSCD, and be able to do all kinds of things digitally, not just see the name of a place, but book a reservation, see the view from a hotel room, choose a seat in a venue and see the view from there. Things which are really about connecting, pre-booking your parking to minimize the walk time. Scheduling, they're going to have all these fancy kind of programs, public spaces, things will keep changing every hour or so. So, mm-hmm. It's very exciting, all kind of app-driven, kind of unified urban experience, and we'll be part of that effort to
interesting.
help bring that to life. Yeah.
So it's not only enticing them, at least to consider heading downtown to this district, but to make it as easy as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Michael Jansen, Cityzenith, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.